anyway, I had I went to, forget where it was now, the apartheid something with a person. And while he was doing the business at the shop, I sat on a seat by a chair, and an old lady was sitting there, and she said, "Are you waiting to come into church?" And I said, "No." And I poured my story out that I'd forgotten about God because of what happened to my daughter. So anyway, she said, well, she said, God didn't make the motor car, and so if I were you, I'd come in church with me and get it off your chest a bit and say, tell the vicar. And he said God didn't make the motor car, and he prayed hard for me. Then a fortnight after, I still couldn't take it in. I went to Burnwood Mental Hospital with someone, and you had to go through the doors, and I looked him as you went through. And as I was going through, a young lady come walking to me, and she was saying, "Are you my mum? Are you my mum?" And the nurse said, "Oh, don't let her worry you, dear," but she was involved in a car accident, and she had a brain injury. And so I thought, my God, that could be Aunt Sylvia, because that would have happened to her, because I was told that. So anyway, after that, I thought to myself, my God, why have I done it? I've turned me back on you. And really and truly, God was telling me when I seen that lady on the seat, and when I saw that girl in that hospital, he was showing me. He couldn't tell me. He couldn't make me understand because I'd lost my daughter. So anyway, I thought to myself, I've got to believe. So I went to church and I told the vicar I broke my heart. And after that, I never ever put God on one side. Yeah, I'm a big believer in God. God made the world. It has got to be made by someone. And God made the world. Then he made Adam and Eve. Adam. And then he made Eve. And if you read the Bible from beginning to end, it's a wonderful story all about the world and Jesus and God and what God did. Yeah, it's wonderful. And he also, he also made things, there's a hymn about, he made the snow in winter, the warmth to swell the rain, and all that sort of thing. And it's all true. It's all true. And even now, listen, I am praying for quite a number of people. And I've got a little cross in my hand, a wooden cross, that my granddaughters, my daughter-in-law that lost our Trevor, her sister fought for me because I went to a cathedral and I bought this cross, and it was made in a country where Jesus was born. And Jesus was born in a manger. Yes. No room at the inn.
Yes.
So there's quite a story. It goes from beginning to end of the Bible. So it's up to you. You start to believe.
I believe.
Ali and Ardeen always went to church with me as teenagers, and they are good Christians.
I've been to church with Lee, and Lee and I've been to church with you and I, Lee. You went to kids' school?
Yeah.
Church. I went to church with you, didn't I? Oh, yeah, once.
Yeah. It's all true. Yeah, it's all true.
You know what?
And listen, my dad was the biggest drunkard that ever walked this earth.
What are you trying to say now? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? No, I'm joking.
My father.
That means when you...
Because in them days, when they worked hard down the pit, they
drank hard in the pool.
used to drink beer, you know.
Yeah.
And so, one day, I sat up with my mother when the others had been put to bed, and we were waiting for my dad to come home. And then he came home. I heard footsteps coming up our driveway. It was a long drive to the cottage in St. Terry's. And anyway, I said to my mother, oh, I can hear footsteps coming up the driveway. And she said, yeah, and me, but it's not your dad. His footsteps are too straight. So anyway, he came in and my mother said, where you been, Dad? And he said, where have I been? He said, I sat on a seat at Ensford Square, and the Salvation Army was playing. And he said, I sat and listened to them. And when they finished, they marched up to Hilltop, and I followed them. He said, and I've knelt at what they call the mercy seat, and I've asked God's forgiveness for all what has happened. And so, after that, my father was a Christian. He had Salvation Army uniform. He was a flag carrier. My eldest brother was a trumpet player, and my sister wore the uniform of the Salvation Army. And it never looked back. Never looked back. But my dad died when he was 61. And they used to make little cards, like a little book. And it said on it, when he died, he suffered patiently and long. His faith was hope. His hope was strong. His faith was pure. The peace of Jesus filled his breast and granted him eternal rest. My mother was a big Christian. She never went to church or chapel.
My grandma left his backer on the bench.